This is the easiest item sorter in Minecraft, and I'm gonna show you how to build it. So anyways, these are the resources you will need to build this. So anyways, let's get into it. Alright, so the first step to this item sorter is to place yourself out 4 double chests right next to each other. So anyways, 1, 2, 3, then 4, then head to the back side of each of these double chests and then place yourself a hopper going into each of the chests. So anyways, once you've done that, you will now need to place yourself 3 blocks going out from each of these hoppers and make sure these are solid blocks. So anyways, 1, 2, 3, then do the same going out from each of the hoppers, pretty much like this. Then on the first block you placed going outwards, you will need to place yourself a comparator. So in total you should now have placed 4 comparators, and make sure these comparators are facing this direction. So anyways, what you will have to do now is stand on top of these chests, shift click as in crouch, and then place yourself a hopper looking into each of the comparators, pretty much like this. And again, make sure these hoppers are facing into the comparators and not downwards, because if the hoppers are facing downwards, then this will not work. Again, make sure all of the hoppers are looking into the comparators. Then once you've done that, what you will have to do now is place yourself 3 redstone dust going out from each of the comparators. Now this means that you will have to place 2 redstone dust on top of these blocks and then 1 on the grass block you have down here. However, if you're building this in the air or somewhere else and don't have blocks right here, what you can do is simply just build a row of solid blocks here instead. But anyways, then just make sure you've done something like this. So make sure you have 2 redstone dust going out from the comparator with then a third one block down. Then do the same behind each of the other comparators, pretty much like this. And then what you will have to do now is dig yourself under what you built so far of the redstone, because we're gonna have to build some more redstone stuff under here. So anyways, then break yourself down 1 block right here, and you might have to break yourself another just so you can access the blocks under there. And what you will have to do now is dig out all of the blocks you have under all of the solid blocks you place right here. This means that I'm gonna have to break out all of these 3 blocks going 4 blocks forward, pretty much like this. And then once you've done that, place yourself a row of solid blocks in the middle, and then to the left side of the blocks you just placed, place self redstone torches on, of course, the left side of this block. And to mention, make sure these are not placed on the ground right here or on the dirt right here. Make sure these are placed to the left side of this block right here, as in the redstone torches should be placed on the left side of the block that's under the first piece of redstone dust. Then once you've done that, what you will have to do now is place self a redstone repeater looking into the block that has a redstone torch on it. And this means that you're gonna have to place them facing into these blocks. Now you might have some problems placing them on these inner blocks, so you might have to break yourself inwards, then simply place yourself a repeater looking into the block that has a redstone torch on it, pretty much like this. So anyways, what you should have now is something that looks like this, and make sure you have done this correctly. And of course, once you've done that, you can also cover in the blocks you broke right here. So anyways, what you'll have to do now is head to the front side of what you built so far, then place yourself a temporary block on top of the last hopper right here, and then place a chest going out from this temporary block as into the right side of it. Then you can break the temporary block, and what you will have to do now is place yourself 5 hoppers going into this chest. And this line of hoppers should pretty much be running above all the hoppers you have right here. So anyways, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then once you've done that, you will have to place yourself a chest above the last hopper you placed right here. Now this pretty much means that you're going to be emptying your inventory into this chest. All the items will be sorted out into these chests, and the items you do not have filtered into these chests will appear in this chest. So anyways, what we will have to do now is the final step, and that is to add ourselves some filter items and the items we want to sort out into these hoppers right here. And make sure you're placing these items into the hoppers that's facing into the comparators. So anyways, what we will have to start off with is of course the filter items. Now for each item you want to sort out, you're going to need 4 filter items. Now if you don't know, a filter item can be pretty much any item. However, this filter item will have to be an item that will not be sent through the system naturally. This means that if you, for example, are sorting out diamonds into this chest, gold into this chest, iron into this chest, and let's say copper into this chest, you cannot use, for example, iron as the filter items. So what I would recommend you do is place yourself out an anvil and then simply grab a stack of any block that you have laying around, for example cobblestone, and then just rename that to something. And I'm going to rename this to subscribe, because that's what you should be doing if you found this video helpful. And the reason we're renaming these blocks is because you will probably never have cobblestone renamed subscribe go through the system, and that is quite important. But anyways, once you've found a filter item, ideally a renamed item, what you will have to do is open all of these hoppers and then place yourself 4 of these filter items into the last 4 slots, pretty much like this. And make sure you do this on all of the hoppers that's facing into the comparators. So anyways, once you've done this, what you will have to do now is place 41 of the items you want sorted out into the first slot. And we're going to use the same example. If you want, for example, netherite sorted into this chest, you will have to place 41 netherite ingots into this first slot. So what you will have to do is place 41 netherite ingots into this first slot with then 4 filter items behind it. If you then, for example, want diamonds sorted into this chest, you will have to do the same right here. So then simply grab 41 diamonds, place them into here. And let's say you want gold into this chest, you will have to do the same with gold. So you will then have to place yourself out 41 gold into this slot right here. And then let's say finally you want iron going into this chest, you will have to do the same right here. So then place yourself finally 41 iron into this first slot. And once you've done that, you're actually done with the system. However, one brief thing to add on and one brief thing I would recommend you do is also place yourself a backway facing staircase on top of the front of the chest right here, with then some item frames on top of those staircases, and then I would recommend you place an item of whatever you're sorting out into each of these item frames. And this is of course so you can easily find items you're sorting out. So anyway, since I'm sorting out netherite ingots into this chest, I'm going to place one netherite ingot here, same with diamonds here, gold here, and then iron here. So anyways, to briefly show you how this works, I'm going to place the rest of the 23 netherites, diamonds, gold, and iron I have right here, and I'm also going to throw in 16 oak planks. I'm even going to throw in 1 dirt, and let's even say 1 grass block, just to show you what will happen once this is sorted out. So what we should have now is the rest of the netherite ingots right here, although to briefly say, you see that only 22 have appeared in this chest, and that is because one will always be stuck in this hopper right here. So anyways, now the diamonds are done, so all the 22 diamonds should appear here, 22 gold should appear here once the gold of course is done, which is any moment right now. Boom, pretty much like that. And once the iron is done, the iron should of course appear in the iron chest, and all of the oak planks and of course dirt and grass should end up in this last chest right here. So anyways, as you can see, 22 iron, and now we should have 16 oak planks appear in this chest, and none of the other oak planks are accidentally going into any of these chests. And yeah, as you can see, we also happen to get the dirt and grass right here. So anyways, that is it for the system. Now I want to briefly say you can very easily expand this by simply copying the redstone and chest going sideways. You might end up looking something along the lines of this. So right here we have quite a lot more items, and all of them will of course be sorted out. So anyways guys, that is it for this one, and that is how to make a very easy and very efficient item sorter in Minecraft. So yeah, anyways, thanks more for watching, and I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions about how this works or anything like that, feel free to leave them down below, and I'll try to answer your questions as quickly as possible. So anyways, thanks more for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.